called and asked if we were able to take 10. And I said,
oh, boy.
I said, yeah, of course. We've done more than that before.
Sure.
Right. And then the next day he's like, well, they just called and said that they also have 5 puppies that are 10 to 12 weeks old. And I was like, okay. Well, I think between today and Friday, we'll have 24 dogs coming in.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. With this intake, it will put us over the 400 dog mark.
Oh my dog. Dog. Oh my dog.
Oh, my dog, hey.
Oh, my dog, hello.
We are back.
Back again.
Oh, and it feels like we were just here. We always say that, but my God.
Well, we are a day early.
We are early, yes. So we are here on a Sunday. We're slightly low energy now, but once we get to chattering, we usually amp up.
Yeah,
but
it's been a weekend.
We worked hard this weekend, and by that I mean we played hard this weekend.
Oh my God. I was telling my girlfriends a story at the tiny home, and we're just sitting there, and I'm telling the story, and it was when Tater got her head stuck in the kennel. And I was telling him, I said, and so I had my AirPod in, thank dog, because I just said, hey Siri, call Dad.
Yeah.
And
then
I'm telling him the story, and I'm like going on about how, the whole thing, and see, there it goes. And then all of a sudden I'm like, what is that noise? And it was my dad's voicemail saying, you've left your message or whatever, goodbye. And I'm like, oh shit. Like,
did you say, Mom,
what did
go
I
delete
say?
this voicemail?
So I call him and no answer, obviously.
Yeah.
Call him again, no answer. Message him, call me as soon as you get this, please. And so he's like trying to call me, and he can't get through because I'm calling him.
Oh my God.
Finally, we get a hold of each other. He's like, what's going on? What's happening? I was like, I just left you a voicemail. Just don't even listen to it. And he's like, are you serious? That's what this is all about? He goes, I thought something was really wrong. Well,
do you think you deleted it?
I hope so. I don't know. Oh my God. I didn't say anything bad. It was just the story, but
yeah.
Anyway.
But it's never been spoken aloud that you were half nude and he didn't notice.
I was, nude. I mean, just in a tank top, and I'm like, Dad. He had no idea what was happening.
No.
Thank God. So
have we told that story on here before?
I don't think so.
You probably now you have to.
Tater was like 2 weeks old. I was fostering Malibu. Malibu had Tater. She was there, the whole thing. I'd put him in a Great Dane size wire crate. And Tater had gotten her head through the 2 wires, but she couldn't get back in.
Right.
And so she's screaming bloody murder, and I'm like, I'm trying to hold her up because she's just like,
she's tiny.
She was 157 grams when she was born. So she was like
tiny.
Itty bitty.
Yeah.
And I couldn't let her down because I was afraid she was going to twist her neck and break her neck or something. And I couldn't pull the wires apart
because you were holding
with
her
one
up.
hand.
Yeah.
So I'm just like sitting there holding this dog up naked. And I'm like, what do you do? What? Anyway.
So then you had to call Dad
to call Dad. I'm like, hey, could you come up here and help me with this dog? And, luckily I had an oversized tank top on. So I'm like, okay, pulling it down, tugging it down. And he comes in and he
gets
pulls
the dog
it
out.
apart. And then he's just like talking to me, just like telling me about his day, about his morning. And I'm sitting there like holding this dog still in the kennel, just holding the dog thinking he's going to notice here in a minute that like he needs to
turn around.
Yeah. No.
He just kept going.
Oh man. I'm like, Dad, just give me a quick second, if you would, please. Jeez. Oh, he's gonna hate that I told that story.
It's funny.
It's fine. Anyway, so we've had 14 intakes in the last 2 weeks,
Yep.
and if I counted right, 10 adoptions. There's a very long name on here, and I'm like, what is
Yes.
this?
I will tell the story of that name when we get to it.
So we're 4 in the hole
Yeah.
with a whole bunch more coming. We'll get to that. So who did we have come in?
Yes. So Goose was, this was a frustrating intake when we went to go get those dogs. So we had done all of this networking because we were told that there were 2 Great Dane mixed puppies, a Great Dane mama, and then 2 German Shepherds that needed help, hadn't had food in days, were really not doing great. And so we set up Natasha to head down there, and it was like 2 hours
Up
away.
there,
Up
yeah.
there, yeah. I would say down, but
Northwest Iowa.
up. And she made her way up there, got there, and she just had the Great Dane puppies and mom, and she's like, where's the German Shepherds? And she's like, oh, I gave them to somebody else.
I just gave it to my neighbor 15 minutes ago.
Yeah. No, you didn't. Like, we've been talking about this. We knew, like, she knew we were coming, but she was being kind of wishy-washy on giving up the German Shepherds, which desperately needed help because the one was tied up outside and the other one was in a kennel, and again, no food for days because she was supposedly so broke she couldn't buy them food,
Right.
which is why they called in the first place. But anyhow, so we got there, we had everything all lined up for the German Shepherds. It was quite the effort on social media to find someone to take these dogs.
Yeah, because we had a foster back out last second too. So it was a day. I remember
It was
that
an awful day. And so then she got up there, and we had the Great Dane Rescue yet again, who we've worked with now on 3 different rescues with Great Danes, I believe. They're wonderful to work with, but they can only take purebred Great Danes because their people who follow them just don't want mixes. So if they get them, they just sit and sit and sit because they're a breed-specific rescue. So they have had to make that rule. So the puppies were mixed with Silver Lab. So they did end up taking one of the puppies because they had a foster who was willing to take it. And then we took the other puppy, and then they took the mom. And the puppy that we took was named Goose, and he was cute, and he got adopted by a good friend of one of our fosters, and is doing great. He had, I believe, a Great Dane who had passed away and was looking for another one, and so it ended up working out really well. But
those dogs, man, they're huge.
they are huge. Yeah, there's one that comes out to Paws and Pints who is enormous, but like plays and runs around like a tiny little puppy, you know? And it's funny, but it's also like you're gonna trample somebody. Ma'am, like, she's crazy.
Their life expectancy is not that great either.
No,
It's like 9 years.
they typically say 6 to 8 years or so, but I've known a couple of Great Danes that have lived to 12, which is kind of unheard of, but the fact that I've personally known some, I think there's been some things that they can do to help them along.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Usually their back ends give out and their hips give out before their bodies do, or their heart, you know, so one of the two. But anyway, beautiful little dog. I think we'll get to see it grow up because we kind of know the person who adopted him, and that'll be cute. So, and then,
well, same day I was doing the Marshall Mathers return.
oh, please regale us with that.
Shoo. Well, they had adopted. It was previously named Kevin. And they had adopted like in November of 23. So it was
a while.
I mean, well over 6 months ago.
Yeah.
9 months ago.
Yeah.
And the husband had called and said that it just isn't working. Called on the bat phone and said it wasn't working and he needed to go. And I said, well, you know, what's he doing? And he had no interest in conversing about the issue. It was just like come
he's
get
gotta
this dog.
Yeah.
And then I talked to the wife, and she had said that they had tried everything, that the dog never warmed up to the husband, and, you know, he was fine otherwise, but the husband's over it. I'm like, well, I'm over the husband, so we're even now.
Right.
But it was so weird. I mean, I went to pick him up, and
nothing.
It was just a very odd interaction.
Right.
Like, there was no, like, oh, thanks for coming and getting him, or, hey, this is what this is what we're experiencing, or none of that. And their little kids in the house, the one little girl was in the corner crying, and the other 2 girls are running around on folding chairs. It was
weird.
The whole thing was odd. So I took him down to, Heather
Mhm.
at the clinic in Valley Junction, and he had a belly band on, and I just left it on him because we were in
Yeah.
the car, and I'm like, well,
Whatever.
perfect, no big deal. And we got there, and they took the belly band off, and he has a, what kind of dog is he? Esky,
Yeah.
right?
He's an American Eskimo dog.
So
yeah.
he's got like that,
White,
like
wiry.
a palm coat,
Yep.
you know, it's big, fluffy,
Yep.
and where that belly band was, there was just worn down. So he had never been out of this belly band. And then on his belly and on his penis were urine burns.
Gosh, damn it.
And
People
this poor kid came from the Knoxville 13.
Yeah. So he
it's
came out
like-
of hell and then went and had to live in his own
Came from
pee
shit,
band.
went to shit,
Damn it. I hate when that happens.
back again. So yeah, it's one of our bigger fears in rescue is, you know, you can talk to people, you can see people. I mean, their home would have been approved. I mean, there was nothing, wasn't like the home was
Nothing glaring that
right,
we would have known about. Yeah.
no.
But
But-
just people who weren't ready to
I don't know.
take on that dog. I don't know.
But he was not. He was the happiest little dog.
Yeah.
He was not aggressive. He wasn't growly. He rode fine. He didn't whine. He
Yeah.
stayed in the back seat. He was happy in the clinic. And Heather, I mean, he says he's having a best time of his life. So
Yeah. So they had named him Marshmallow, which is how Marshall Mathers came about, because we had another Marshall, which we'll talk about shortly. But funny enough, he couldn't go back to his original name of Kevin because Heather has, number one, another American Eskimo dog. She loves this breed, so
Right.
she was happy to say yes to take him on. But two, her boyfriend is named Kevin. So for a short
fiance now.
or fiance, yeah.
Yes.
So for a short while, we were, we're like, well, we'll just call him Kevin again. And she's, I said, you can change his name if you want to. It's too weird. She's like, it'll be fine. And then like 10 minutes later, she's like, I think we probably better change his name. It's getting weird.
You want to go potty, Kevin?
Why are you asking me that? I'm a grown man.
So anyway, he'll be fine.
And then you also picked up the next one, Lucky, who was a
Did I?
Brittany Spaniel, that little red and white Brittany Spaniel. No,
That was
Natasha did.
Natasha.
Natasha did. I just knew it wasn't me.
Like I didn't.
I don't even know where
I
that
could
dog.
have, but I don't think I did.
I'd have to look back at the surrender to see where that dog even came from. But beautiful dog, and funny enough, never had a Brittany Spaniel in rescue ever. And then bam, bam, we
had like
had two.
Yeah.
Which was crazy. They're really pretty dogs, and they have quite the following. So if you've had one before, it seems like you get another one again in your lifetime. So
And I've had two people ask if we ever get Dobermans.
yeah.
So I'm sure that'll be
We'll
coming
get
down
a
the pike. Yeah,
Doberman. We put
within
it
the
out
next
there.
30 days. There'll
Thanks
be a
for
Doberman
saying
in
it
here.
out loud.
You're welcome.
Yep. I actually do like Dobermans. I like them like I like Rottweilers. So the reason for giving him up, just felt he needs more room to run and be active as I'm in school, work, and kids.
Right.
My least favorite reason. So anyway, he came in and he went out real quick because those Brittany people, they like their dogs.
Yeah.
And so he went to a home with another Brittany Spaniel, and they're doing good, I think. So let's see who came in next. And then Addie, which
That
you
was
did
a
this one, right?
German Shepherd
Puppy.
7 months old.
Yeah.
Female. So the friend of the guy that had her took her out of a shitty situation.
Okay.
As a puppy, she was in this house and she was getting abused, and I think they were gonna probably use her like as a fight training dog.
Oh.
And so this guy pulled her out of there, got her out of there, and took her to his friend who has a German Shepherd himself, because he had mentioned at one time in his life that he would have another German Shepherd someday.
Sure.
And so the guy was like, "Oh, here you
you
go."
not I'm give you
Right.
this, what are we calling it? Donating this dog
Yeah.
to you? Yeah.
And so this guy was like, "Well, his German Shepherd is, I don't know, 8 million years old.
Oh, so
I
you went.
saw the dog, and she's literally she won't see Christmas."
Yeah.
So, it was just too much for the older,
Yeah.
she's having a hard time.
You can't
getting
bring a puppy
up,
into the
right,
last
and
few
then
months
you
of
got
a
a
dog's life.
7-month-old thing, and it's like it's not working.
Mhm.
which he said from the beginning, I'll be happy to watch her until we can find her a permanent situation. So I don't think it was ever intended to
Right.
work out.
Right.
So anyway, I went and picked her up, and luckily one of the fosters from the
Things always work out, man.
that that had spoken up for a German Shepherd, and then we didn't get
The
him.
disappeared
And
German
then I was like,
Shepherds, yeah.
well, actually,
How about this one?
it's just delayed.
And actually, the one that we got was a much better fit for that foster and a much easier adopt out because it was a younger dog. And I think that the ones that were disappeared probably had a lot of baggage that we were gonna have to deal with. So I hope those dogs are safe. But for our purposes, it worked out well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and David and Jane, they're neighbors of mine, and this was their first foster, and she said it's probably their last.
Oh,
and I was like, that sucks because they were so good. Like,
yeah, what
they
happened?
didn't require any hand-holding at all.
Yeah, they did.
He fell in love with her.
Oh,
and
she was like, no.
He had chosen the last two dogs that they had gotten, and so now it was Jane's turn, and Jane didn't fall in love with the German Shepherd.
Yeah,
and they weren't doing this for that to happen. She honestly just wants to foster.
Yeah.
So she would like a pity mix or a American Bulldog, I think is what she said.
Hey, listen, I got a list. I can drop
I said,
one off.
we get those quite often.
Yeah. Cool. Well, hopefully he gets over it and they will do it again and whatever.
I'm sure they'll be fine.
Yeah. I know. Your first one, you don't know what to expect or how you're going to feel, and so it takes a little time to harden yourself. Not even harden yourself, just to get used to the
our
idea.
point.
Yeah.
We're just totally dead inside.
Jesus.
And give zero shits.
Yeah. 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 I don't. Why are we even still doing this?
Right.
We care, but we just can't show it anymore.
Yeah, tell me about the name on this next one.
Well, first of all, the next two, it was just a random email in, someone that had, so her mother has 2 unfixed chihuahuas that continually keep having litters of puppies.
Isn't that funny how that happens?
Gosh darn it. But they're like the itsy bitsy little 5-pound chihuahuas, right?
You know what causes that, right?
Yeah. I think there's as usual, some mental health stuff going on there. But then, so the mom has the puppies, and then they hit about 6 weeks old, and she freaks out and calls the daughter and is like, hey, you need to come get these puppies. It's too much, And so the daughter's like, I've raised 3 litters now for her.
Oh, God.
And she's like, my mom's going on vacation. And I said, we'll pay to spay the dog if you go grab her. Let's figure this out. Not that I condone spaying someone's dog without permission, but they have talked about it with the mom before, and so I think it's on. We're gonna try it. I'm gonna reach back out to her and see what we can get that done. But anyway, they had these 2 little 6-week-old puppies that were completely flea infested when they came from the mom's house. So that's going on too, right? So terribly.
And when they're that small, that's actually pretty dangerous.
Well, they both have horrible tapeworm infestations that we just treated.
And they get really anemic really fast.
Yes. They're lucky that they got out of there and they got that treated because they wouldn't have... I don't think they would have made it through with how bad the tapeworm infection was. To spare you any details, it was a large amount of worms.
The number of pictures that we get
of poop,
of worms in shit.
A lot. People are like, oh, this dog has worms. Great, I believe you. And then we get video and pictures. And like, well, if I saw it, you have to see it. It's like, we have seen it a lot. I don't want to see any more worm poop pictures, please. But anyway, I got a lot. So one of them stayed with me for exactly 1 night. And I really love tiny dogs, a lot. And I called Cameron, my daughter, on the way home, and I was like, hey, do not one time say out loud that you want to keep this dog, because it is not happening and I can't do it, and I can't even look at it, whatever. And I thought, well,
I am in danger.
I am in danger. And so I'm in this group chat with a bunch of friends from the dog park, and one of them, she said in all capital letters, bring me that dog. And I'm like, haha, yeah, okay. Yes, it's adorable. You don't really want it. Because she's got an Australian Shepherd who is the light of her life. She takes her everywhere. They go shopping at Home Goods 3 times a week together. They're inseparable, okay? And I'm like, this is just such an opposite type of dog from what you have. Why would you, that's not right. You don't want this. You wanted another Aussie, right? And she was like, I don't know. I think I want that dog. So at 7:30 the next morning, I dropped the dog off at her house, and she works from home, so it's been perfect because she can, monitor them and whatever. And this tiny little 1.5-pound dog has fallen in love with and become best friends with her little Australian Shepherd. And I get pictures daily. I did get the poop pictures, but I also get cute dog pictures daily. And they're doing great. So her dog's name is Cricket. And she was like an AKC registered, whatever. So she had this kind of longer name that she had to submit get. And so her name is something, 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 Cricket something, so it's kind of a long name.
Right.
So we were joking. We're like, okay, well, we got to make up our own AKC name. And so in this group chat, I named the dog at first Nat, because I thought that was hilarious, Cricket and Nat. But she's like, it's not funny because when you say it out loud without spelling it, it doesn't sound like the bug. You don't realize. You think its name is...
You think it's like Natalie.
Natalie. And it's, first of all, a boy.
Nat King Cole.
Yeah, something.
Right.
So she's like, the humor of it is lost when you say it aloud. So we've got to think of another bug name. Okay. So everybody's going on. And I had originally named the dog Bao Bun. I don't know why. We just... so anyway.
Like the... Vietnamese?
Yeah, like a little sandwich, because it's a small little taco sandwich thing. It's just little. You can hold it like this.
Yeah, that makes total sense, Kara.
In my head, it did. And we liked it. We called it Bao Bun. Bao Bao. Anyway, so as a combination of everybody's ideas, she has decided that the dog is named The Flea. But its fake AKC name is The Flea Creature Fairy Spider Gnat Molecule Bao Bun Thing. And she has typed that multiple times. I said, I'm going to make the vet appointment.
She has had to have made a shortcut in her phone for that. There's no freaking way.
That's true. She's probably got TFC. But anyhow, I said, at the vet's office, it's under The Flea. I did not give them the full name. So anyway. And then the other one, it came with a brother who was like 1 ounce smaller named Wonton. And so they're so teeny tiny that we're holding them till 12 weeks until... we're posting anything if that one ever leaves Courtney's house.
Why is it spelled that way?
Because, so it's spelled. So we were doing a theme, right, of like Asian foods, bao bun and wonton.
Right.
But he's spelled Juanton because from Mexico, Chihuahuas. Juan.
Oh Jesus.
So it's Juanton, Juanton. Which I think is pretty clever. But again, the humor gets lost when you say it aloud.
Yeah.
So anyway, there was those two. They're so cute. I can't even stand it. We haven't even posted them because it's going to be a frenzy. Like, I can't. Right. Like, it's unsafe. But she's going to keep the flea. So they've fallen in love.
I would hope so.
Yeah.
We should put that much effort into naming a dog.
Okay, and then... The next one was a message I got from our friend Shelly, who has been on the podcast from Calhoun County Canine Shelter. She said, hey, I got a heads up about someone moved away out of state and left their dog tied to a tree in a small town in Calhoun County area. And the neighbor kids, and we've gotten multiple reports that this is accurate, the neighbor kids had been coming over and to its face, like shooting fireworks at it to the point where it had actual injuries on it from the fireworks. Like, what?
What is wrong with these kids?
I don't know. And so, but it was left with nothing. The neighbors had been kind of feeding food and water here and there, but no one had got, and then untangling it because it kept getting the cable tangled around its neck from being out on this tree and being in a frenzy.
Just take the cable off and let it. I mean, that figuring it out on its own is better than...
I would think. But anyway, I don't know how many days this went on for, but finally somebody reached out to Shelly. They had reached out to Carroll County Humane Society or whatever they're called there, and they said, well, we're full, we can't take it. Shelly's resources were tapped out. So we put out a call in the Mutt Mafia and said, hey, here's what's going on, who can help? And, not surprisingly anymore because people are getting pretty cool about stepping up for situations like this, but within the Mafia, I think we had 8 offers to take this dog in. And it was, he's an Alaskan Malamute, but someone at some point, I assume the old owners, had shaved him. So he looked kind of like a husky, which they're, of course, very similar looking, but their Malamute's hair is much longer. And so... but I have a friend who grew up with me in Calhoun County who has like 3 Huskies and they love them and they're just crazy husky people. So he was like, I'll foster. And I said, well, no, you won't. You're going to keep that dog, but okay. So, but I picked him.
You'll foster fail.
I picked him out of the group because I thought with their schedules, they're probably not going to do a lot of fostering, but I know that they would be the perfect home for this dog. And it was magic. Like within the first 48 hours, which by the way, we got that call, and within 24 hours we had the dog and we were heading back here. So that was cool.
Right.
And then second of all, within the first 48 hours, they had taken the dog to a dog bath place, given it a good bath. They had it on the couch snuggling and watching TV, and the other Huskies were just sitting around it like it lived there forever. And it was awesome. And I keep getting these update photos of and we named him Roman because Roman candles, which is so messed up.
That is kind of messed up.
But the last tie-out dog I named Padlock because he had a padlock around his neck, and I still like that name.
But you had pawned it off as like a king situation, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. And the truth comes out
Yeah.
on the podcast.
If you want the real tea. Yeah, like when I posted him, I was like, he deserves to live like a king, and so his name is Roman and whatever. That is absolutely not true. His name is Roman because of Roman candle, and he got shot with fireworks, so we're messed up.
Oh, man.
But anyway, he is going to officially get adopted. I just need to run over there and do the paperwork, but they're in fully, so.
They live in Des Moines then?
Ankeny.
Cool.
Yeah, so pretty excited about how that one turned out. It was a cool thing to watch everybody come together and make it happen. So, all right. What about Halo? Where the heck did Halo come from? A Natasha shit show situation, but I don't know where.
We're going to have to start having her on the show.
Just to tell us what the hell
Cover
she's
her
doing.
intakes.
Yeah, could you just handle what you've done to us? But Halo was in and out and is a little chocolate lab puppy, and I don't remember anything else besides that. I don't even know if it's a boy or a girl.
She was like, how old though?
Like,
I thought it was like 7 months.
yeah, 8 or 9 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But the funny thing is, so my friend Lindsay, who adopted one of the Aussie puppies from us, her next door neighbor adopted Halo. So she was like, she looked out and she saw that they had gotten a new dog, and she was on Facebook and saw the picture of Halo, and then saw the people, and then saw the adoption picture, and looked back again. She's like, this dog is that dog. So she shouts over, she's like, hey, not to be weird, but we also have an Oh My Dog dog. So now they've met because they both adopted Oh My Dog dogs.
We're going to have to start a misconnections board.
Yeah, they took that off of Craigslist, which was a huge...
Did they?
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. They don't have the personal ads.
Rude.
Because it was all just human
Scam,
trafficking.
Yeah. Oh, well.
And then the misconnections went with it because it was a part of the personals section, so which is sad. I used to like to troll those.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah, 8 months old.
Yeah.
Female chocolate lab.
Yeah. I have no idea why we got her, but she landed in a wonderful home, seemingly, and we can keep tabs because she's next door neighbors to my friend. And then the other two were a lady who kind of found herself into a financial situation and was losing her apartment and had 2 pugs. And so I told Holly, I saw the intake come in and it said 2 pugs, and I was like, I'm on it.
And this is amongst, like, well, we'll get to that, but,
we had a lot going on, but I was like, I've got it handled. It'll be done. Look away.
Yeah.
So, do you know how to question what?
She's like the media trying to distract me with something else while she's handling this pug situation.
I was like, get me these pugs now.
Yeah.
So I went over, met her. It was the same deal, though. 2 kids, they met me on the sidewalk with the 2 dogs. They had their bags packed, They put them in the car. She told me a thing or two about each of them.
That was it.
Nobody was sad. I'm like, what is going on here? Why aren't you guys freaking out? If I had to pass off my 2 pugs on the street,
My God.
I'd throw myself in front of a car. Like, what? I don't know. It was super weird. And I think I tried to rationalize it to myself, which I shouldn't, to try to rationalize other people's behaviors and reactions to things. But my thought was, she must be so stressed about her life situation and that she was losing that apartment,
Sure.
that she just, knowing that was getting taken care of and they were going to the good place, that it was a relief for her. So she didn't have time to process that she should be sad that her dogs are being
Right. That'll hit
rehomed, but I think it'll hit
at
later.
a later date.
Yeah.
Ugh,
But
sucks.
it was sad. But anyway, they've both been adopted already, obviously, because pugs. Who doesn't want one? Don't say if you don't. Stop it. But one of them is named Dr. Doom, and that was an on-purpose foster placement as well because it's a friend from the dog park, and I knew that she wanted a pug. And her husband is in Germany on a military trip right now, so it was a free-for-all. I was like, I'm going to drop this pug. I drove it straight from picking it up, dropped off at her house, and by the time I was back home, she's like, I'm keeping it. But she has had him out to the dog park a bunch, and their adoption photo, you'll have to look on our Facebook page, is the cutest thing you've ever saw. She dressed up to match him.
I was going to say, was that intentional?
Oh, yeah.
Because they look exactly like. It's
Yes.
so weird.
She wore her Dr. Doom all-black outfit for her all-black pug.
Love it.
Yeah, so he hit the jackpot. And then Homer went home yesterday. Gal drove like 3 or 4 hours to come pick him up, and I think he'll be spoiled. He's got another pug sibling waiting at home. So, let's see. What else has happened?
Your 2 from yesterday.
Actually, all 4 of these were today. So before I came here, our breeder that we're working with to help her retire out her stock and hopefully eventually take the rest of their dogs so that they can close. I'm working slowly on it, kind of getting 2 or 4 at a time. We got a Shih Tzu named Captain Tony and Miss Molly the Bichon. So they'll be posted very soon. They may be gone by the time we talk or this comes out.
Oh,
Who
I'm
can
sure
say?
they will.
They're both very cute.
That Captain Tony is adorable.
He's really sweet. He's fat. He's kind of like roly-poly.
Eh.
Like in a cute way, because he's a Shih Tzu. So, and then we had 2 returns today. I don't know the full story, but it was the return of that Havanese who we talked about that had kind of the littermate syndrome situation going on before she left her home, and then it's just a spicy dog, but was otherwise doing okay in her new environment.
Yeah.
And I don't quite understand if it was a worthy response to what happened, but apparently she went after the cat and then that was it.
Well, that's why I asked you, was
I don't know.
the dog sleeping and the cat woke it up? Because it just seemed like
I didn't talk to the people,
what
so I'm
a
not sure.
deal.
Deal. This dog is 8 pounds. Like, it's not like it's gonna hurt or kill the cat.
It just seemed like an extreme reaction for a dog that had been settling in fine.
I know. I
But
don't know
that's
at all.
not uncommon either, so.
Yeah, I know. And this dog, I do believe, has some sort of neurological issues or something, because
Right.
she's something's not quite right. So she's back with Barbie, who was her original foster, and actually the reason that we even got to know Barbie is because she called us about Penny, who was left with her at boarding in her house, because she does boarding in her home, and Penny got she was like, hey, we're not coming back for that dog, by the way. So then she was like scrambling to find somewhere to get help. Yeah. So poor Penny, she's been really bopped around. So we'll see what happens.
She's just
with her.
pissed.
Yeah, Penny's pissed.
Pissed off Penny.
I would be too. I'm changing her name officially when I repost her up.
Penny Pissed Off Pants.
Official AKC name. And then this one originally was called Marshall. Came to us about a year. Well, no. Yeah, actually, about a year ago or last winter.
He came with he had a brother or something.
Ted and Marshall.
Yeah.
And
They're both fat.
fat little
Toads.
And Ted is doing great, but Marshall is very fearful of a lot of things.
We're so judgmental.
I know.
Fat little toads.
He's really cute, though. He's a Skipperkey, which
He
is
is cute.
a little black, fluffy dog, pointy ears. And he did fine and liked his new mom okay, and they've had him since March, but was just petrified of, she called him her partner. I don't know. He wasn't anywhere to be seen when I went to the house.
More than a boyfriend, not a fiance.
Yeah, but they're old, so I don't know. I mean, if I'm old, I'll just be like, my man
When
friend.
you're old, yeah, it's like boyfriend doesn't. It's
Yeah,
not
it sounds
appropriate.
weird. I
It
guess
is
partner
weird.
is appropriate, but
Yeah.
so initially I thought it was her husband, but it must just be her person. And he had been very well taken care of, and they just didn't have the ability to know how to let him settle in, I feel like, personally. She was very sweet. She made a donation when she gave him back,
Oh.
which we don't see ever. She had all of his stuff already, and she was really helpful in telling me all the things he likes, doesn't like, and I felt like I had a good idea of what his life has been like, which has basically been hiding on his bed behind the couch since March because he's scared. And he was really scared of the man's voice and movements and everything. But with her, he was really sweet. And also for me, when I got him, we put him in the car and I started petting him. She's like, he's not afraid of you. And I was like, well, I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm not scary to dogs. I don't know. But I'm like, I think it's just because if you're
Only the dogs.
yeah, everybody else, look out. But he's, I think he's an energy matcher, and I think the guy was probably like stressing out about that the dog didn't want to be on his lap and be his friend because they got the dog for him. And so anyway, he's back, and I took him over to Nikki's house, who she also does dog boarding in her home, like a rover situation, and she had him out in the yard with the other dogs, and he was already doing great. So
Perfect.
I do think he just needs some more friends.
Yeah.
So anyway, phew, that was all of our intakes.
And half of those are
Gone.
part of the adoptions.
Yep.
So we don't.
Yeah, we'll
Goose, Lucky, Addie, the Flea, Halo, Dr. Doom, and Homer all got
adopted
out
within the last 2
as
weeks.
well.
Yep. And then the other one, let's see.
Miss Frizzle, Magnolia, and Reggie.
Yes, all got
Were-
adopted. They were from before.
Right.
Reggie it was one of the longest ones that we'd had. He is just a puppy, but he's like a little pit bull mix thing. And anyhow, we ended up sending to a friend of one of our fosters who only adopts black pit bull mixes. Like, that's all he ever gets, which I love. And so he's like, hey, like, does Reggie need some help? Like, I'll take him to training class and just see if he fits in my pack. But if he doesn't, at least I will have had the training done and I'm willing to, like, donate that. Cool. Well, he did fit into their pack, and so Reggie's new dad's girlfriend reached out and said, hey, we've been talking about it, and we really want to keep Reggie, but he doesn't know that it's official that I've said it's okay. And so I'd like to adopt Reggie for his birthday, which essentially he was just paying the adoption fee as his birthday present, and they're both very excited. So I'm still waiting on that adoption photo, though. I bet it's going to be cute.
Speaking of long haulers, just want to plug in here real quick. We still have Toast, and we still have Fendi.
Toast, Fendi.
And they have been with us for a long time.
Yeah, I don't
So
like
we
it.
need
Like 6
to-
months,
Oh,
right?
more than that, I think.
More?
Toast came in 520, so
4 months.
coming up on 4 months.
Okay.
And
Fendi is longer, right?
came in March 14th, so she is coming up on 6 months.
And really no interest in her.
No.
And she is a really beautiful dog. Every time they send a picture, I think, oh, she's cuter than the last time I saw her. Like, she's just really cool, but she really shouldn't be with other dogs. And so I think and neither should Toast, which I know is part of the problem, to find someone that's willing to adopt a dog. In the first place, they probably already have a dog, right? Like,
I would like to see Toast. I want to see if that's still true after
do some testing.
everything that she's been with Jessica. Because,
She walks great on the leash. She minds her well. She rides great in the car.
environment's everything. So,
Well, we might do some dog testing with her. That's a good idea, just to see if we can rule out that would or wouldn't be the case.
it's worth trying. I
Yeah.
mean, what do you got to lose?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I wouldn't take a little chihuahua over there. or anything
She
like
has a
that,
little
but-
chihuahua. Is all she's got. So Jessica's other dog is this tiny chihuahua, but they're not housed in the same place.
Right.
And I really want to get Toast adopted before winter because she has a place that is like it's heated. It's got a indoor-outdoor run, but it's not in a home. And when
Yeah.
it gets really to the cold of winter, like obviously Jessica will bring her where she needs to be safe and comfortable, but she, because of her little dog, can't have her in her house, and so she's got her in this really nice like dog run area, but it's not where she needs to be forever, and she needs to have a home, and it's
So if you're listening to this, please post or share.
Post Toast,
Post Toast.
please. She's the
Share
best
Fendi.
dog.
She's
Jessica
a
says all the
beautiful
time,
dog.
she's like, if my life situation was different and I didn't have my little one and they own like 6,000 businesses, so she's just never home. She's like, this dog is an adventure buddy and also would be a couch potato, like just a really cool personality of a dog.
Yeah.
And she has been through the ringer. So, Yeah, man. I know. I was just thinking about her the other day. I sent her some dog food yesterday, and I'm like, man, I can't believe we've still got
Still
her.
got her.
I
Yeah.
know. Anyway,
Well, it's going to be an exciting week when this podcast gets released this
On the
coming
day.
Friday.
yes.
We are gearing up to head to Grundy Center, Iowa, to take in 15 dogs from a breeder there, and they are Yorkies and Shih Tzus and Yorkie Shih Tzu crosses. So
Which
what
they
is that?
call
Shorkie.
online a Shorkie.
A Shorkie.
Stupid. A mutt.
And this was another contact from the Department of Ag, so they were thoroughly impressed with our performance with the doodle dance and helping get that shut down and taken care of. So he called and asked if we were able to take 10, and I said,
Oh, boy.
I said, yeah, of course. You know,
Yeah.
we've done more than that before.
Sure.
It's no, I mean, it's not a problem, but it's not a problem.
Right.
And then the next day, he's like, well, they just called and said that they also have 5 puppies that are 10 to 12 weeks old. And I was like, okay. And in between that and that phone call was when you're bringing in the pugs and
the
Natasha's-
chihuahuas.
yeah, the chihuahuas, and we had Marshall return, you know, whatever it was. And Natasha's probably, you know, got her shit show magnet antennas up, just,
Yeah.
you know, looking for her next thing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we can
Cool.
do that.
That's
So I
nice.
think between
And we have another breeder release coming too.
well, I think between today and Friday, we'll have 24 dogs coming in.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah. So we got the 2 today,
Yeah.
Plus-
Plus the 2
plus-
we didn't expect that were released or returns.
Marshall and
Yeah.
Marcel and
Marcel and Penny.
Penny. So that's 4 plus the 15 is 19 plus who else did we have? There was well, the Tiny Terror is on hold
Yeah, but then we also have 2 Pomeranians and
from
a wiener dog coming.
Northeast Iowa, yeah.
Yep, coming on Monday.
How many
Tomorrow.
pounds?
Oh my gosh, are they coming tomorrow? Oh, I'm not ready. Jeez. Yeah, we're taking 2 Pomeranians and 1 Dachshund. Another Dachshund that we are taking is on hold because she's got a puppy that they're wanting to wean or something. I don't know, but it's sad.
We're
'Cause
going to try and get both, though.
I know, I'm going to try for the puppy, but
So whatever that puts us at, was that 4 to 19? So 23 plus the Terror, so 24.
Oh, and while we were eating our pizza before this, Natasha did say that she just took in
Oh,
another
yeah.
dog.
That
So
golden retriever.
25, folks. 25. What is her name? She can't name her Peaches. We've already had a Peaches, so she's get her life together.
She knows this. So we did the Perry 7, the Knoxville 13, the Schnauzer 13, and the 10 Chihuahuas. So 15. This will be our
This is our
biggest
single
intake ever.
intake. Yep.
And with that, with this intake, it will put us over the 400 dog mark.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now we're at 394. So that'll put us over. So by the end of the week, it'll be 414.
Holy buckets.
Woo woo. So in our first year, we did 200.
Exactly. Which
we've-
our last 2 we took were Ted and Marshall.
That's true. Isn't that ironic?
Yeah.
So we've got what's this, September, October, November, December. We still have 4.5 months left. A little more than that.
Yeah. So, what do you think? What will our?
Probably 500.
I like a goal. I was thinking 500
Yeah.
total. We probably get
Well,
to.
we're already at 415. So
Yeah, we'll get to
that's only
500.
85 more in 5 months. Like,
It's gonna happen.
so anyway, it's only 85 more.
We can do it. I love a goal. Although we really scrambled to get those last 2 because I desperately wanted to hit 200, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And then we took Ted and Marshall's still haunting us. Poor little guy. He's a really sweet little dog, though. Gosh darn it.
Well, I'm glad we did have some time to prep for this, though. To get the fosters lined up, we asked for volunteers, of course, and our Mutt Mafia. That took a little bit of doing. And like everything else, I think timing of posting matters. And sometimes I don't have that luxury. Like, I need to get it posted so I can, get on with my day. I got a million other things that I need to get done.
Yeah.
So,
And then you have to like keep up with the post to answer questions
Right.
and all the things. So the first big hurdle is figuring out where they're going to go.
yep.
And then you've been working kind of all week to figure out all the things that we need to do to prepare.
Yeah, so now that we've done this a few times and we have the time to prepare, I mean, we
don't
can't.
always.
We are fully capable of responding to emergency situations. It's not a problem.
But as
when we have
Type
time,
A ladies, if we've
right.
got time, we've got spreadsheets.
So we want, we want to know who's going where. I want to get the vet records this week. I want to get the vet appointments made this week. I want the bags for all of our fosters to be ready with the delayed spay contract for the puppies.
Oh.
Yeah,
that's a good idea.
The NextGuard Plus, the
Yep.
flea tick, wormer, heart guard.
Yep.
Harness. Everybody's getting a harness. Everybody's getting a leash.
Yes.
Everybody's getting a tag that has our information that's going to go on the harness. Microchips.
And we ordered
Apple Air tags.
Yep. We all
with the
ordered
collars.
all new, or a bunch of new Apple Air tags, harnesses, leashes. Because the thing of it is while we get some donated, which is great, they're never the right size when we need them, and usually it's the small ones.
Yeah.
So if you're thinking of like going on an Amazon shopping spree, like small and extra small, like harnesses and leashes, I'm almost out of leashes right now, which I always had like a huge surplus, but.
And stupidly on Amazon, the breathable harnesses that they have on there,
Yeah.
they're like, oh, it's $10 a piece or whatever. You're like, okay, so you go on and you click on the size and then you can pick, one of 40 colors. Well, the price changes with every color. And of course, the $10.50 one is like the burnt orange and the, camo, and like it's not the cute little, pink and purple ones.
Right.
We don't care. But
No.
it's just a pain in the ass.
It's like you have to
go
click
through all of
through
the colors
every
and be like,
single.
I don't care. Just send me a bunch for $10.50.
Yeah. Don't have the cheapest. Like, come on. Man.
So when we have to buy new things like this, of course, we're buying in bulk and we're finding the most cost-effective solution.
Yeah.
Not wasting any donations that way.
Right.
So what else? And then it's down to transporting and timing. So
Yes.
Who's
Which
going?
we need to talk about where we're going to land and disperse these dogs, because
Right. Who's gonna go? How many dogs can we fit in each vehicle?
Yep.
What time we're meeting up there? How long we're gonna be there? So an ETA of when we're gonna get back and where to meet and all that stuff. So anyway, it's just kind of a big orchestrated situation that can be done on the fly, but.
It's almost harder. I mean, it's better later on when we have the time, but it's almost harder when we do have the time ahead of time, because we think that we're all planned out for every scenario, and then always something happens, you know. But yes, we are air tagging every single dog that touches our hands from this group, for sure.
And when you have this much time, it's also less of an adrenaline rush.
I know. You
Which
get
is
there
what you and I feed off of.
I know. We like when there's like a fiasco. And
right.
Though this 15 dogs at once, no matter how much we plan, is going to be a fiasco. So it is what it is. And we've got it again.
It was Pandalarium.
And we've got a lot of new fosters joining us because of 25 dogs all at once, right? So that's always a challenge in and of itself, just getting people onboarded and understanding the way of the mafia.
Yeah, and I think we have consistently been working towards deepening the foster bench within the mafia for a multitude of reasons, just to give everybody some breathing room. If you need, to take a life break, cool, we've got you. Please come back when you're ready. You're less likely to burn people out forever if you have more than enough people on board.
Correct.
To cover it.
Yeah.
That being said, sometimes it does get a little frustrating on this end, where it's like there's a lot of work that still needs to be done, and for lack of a better word, begging for fosters isn't something I really want to spend my time doing.
No, I mean, if we've got
there's 200 and some odd people in that group, I need 10. I I should post it, and in
It should
half an
happen.
hour it should be there.
Well, and I'll tell you,
But you hate to sound like that. I mean,
I know.
you know what I mean.
Everybody's got stuff going on.
Yeah.
But in our foster group right now, of people who have, I'm going to just cross out the ones that were just kind of one-time fosters. We've got about 100 or so people who have applied to foster, gone through, having us talk to them, learn more about it. And then of the ones who have officially like filled out the forms to say that they're like in to foster, and there's been some that have moved away and not, or some that like didn't fill out the forms that were fostering before, but that's at like 95.
Right.
So we have enough people that have signed up to foster that could. Now some of these I need to get off the list because they're no longer
It's
interested or
directionally
whatever.
accurate.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, close enough, right?
plenty.
But
of
there's a lot.
people. Yeah.
And that's part of it too. If you want to be picky as a foster and say I only want whatever, that's fine. We need them all, but it makes it harder.
That's why we have
so many.
so many people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think sometimes the same people are always speaking up
They're less picky.
because they're less picky and they're having a good time and they're at a point in their lives where they can do it, so they're going to do it. But I think it can maybe the other people that want to, either they're not on social media like these people are.
Yes.
Like we are.
Or they need more time
minute.
to say yes.
They need to clear it with their other half.
Yeah.
They need to look at their, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something we could work on too, is like
Giving it. Yeah. How do we put the call out and get things to the people who are signed up
Right.
and interested?
Yeah.
I think we should
Give everybody a chance.
Yeah. I think we should do maybe a poll out, like a form out to all of the people who have actively signed the foster and just say, like, are you still interested in fostering? Yes. What type of dogs do you want to foster?
Right.
This.
Small, medium,
And
large.
we would have a spreadsheet that
Right.
had, like, that information in it. Then we could maybe reach out to them directly first before just, like, putting it out to the
Filter
world.
it out. Yeah.
So
Sure.
we could work on that. I bet they would.
We're always improving.
Always trying. So, yeah.
And then let's see. On the 21st, we both want to call out, there is an event in Des Moines. It's put on by Bailing Out Benji.
It's their kind of big
Mindy
fundraiser
Callison.
for the year.
It's their gala.
Mm-hmm.
Although somebody corrected me the other day and said it's I said gala. They
It's
said
either-
gala.
It's
And I'm
tomato,
like,
tomato.
I think it goes both ways, right?
Yeah, you can say
Okay.
whatever you want. I'm
Well,
pretty sure.
whatever.
Ask me. I'm a expert
Yeah,
when it comes to
I'm asking
pronunciation.
you. So it's called Bark After Dark Gala, whatever.
Uh-huh.
And it's downtown Des Moines.
Mhm.
It's very nice. There's a cocktail hour, hors d'oeuvres, open bar,
Mhm.
a plated dinner.
And they
They'll
have
have a guest speaker, a silent auction.
the big auction with all kinds of
Yep.
stuff that is geared towards us dog lovers. So it's good.
It's a fun night, and we have a table. We are sponsoring a table this year. Kara and I went together last year.
Yep.
And so this year we wanted to
As a rescue who takes in a lot of,
a fair amount.
fair amount of breeder release dogs and believes in the mission of more strongly regulating the breeding dog stock in the state of Iowa, and the effort to not only shut down puppy mills that are not doing a good job, but just make sure that those who are breeding in a large scale are doing it right and are being held accountable. I think that Bailing Out Benji does incredible work in making sure that the public even knows this is happening.
Right.
Because before they started doing this, nobody knew what
any of it.
was.
Yeah.
I mean, I bought a dog from a breeder that was definitely a puppy mill, and I had no clue. And then, the more I heard, and that's how, I don't remember, I still had that dog, and I was thinking about it, and that breeder that I got him from had been shut down. And I think in my research of that, and being like, what happened? Where did he come from? What is this? I think I stumbled across Bailing Out Benji, and that's how I got to know Mindy, who is the founder. So,
Excellent.
yeah, they do a lot of really good work and a ton of research.
And that's kind of part of the whole rescue world, is there's people like us that are doing what
The
we
boots on the
do. There's
ground,
people
yeah.
like shelters that are doing what they can. There's the transporters like Craig and Kelly. that are doing what they can, and then we need these people on the legal front working with lawmakers and representatives and
Yeah.
being the voice.
And honestly, we don't have the time to do that because our hands are dirty, like
I
cleaning
also don't
up
have
shit.
the interest.
Yeah,
you
I
know.
I don't have enough like knowledge or interest or passion in like going to the legislature and like saying like talking about what needs to happen. But
I don't have enough patience.
I sure as heck though will stand behind the people who do and that are raising the money to make sure that their voices and our voices, our collective voice in the rescue community is being heard.
Because we would love to not have to do this. We would love to not be needed.
Yeah.
So they're doing what they can to make our lives easier down the road.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, death, taxes, and dog rescue are things that are always going to be needed in this world. So, yeah.
There's as long as there's dog stories like Romans, that's always we're always going to be needed because there's no amount of legislation that's going to prevent that kind of.
Yeah, there's no magic dust that we can sprinkle over the world to make people not pieces of shit.
Speaking of Roman, we're going to start a new segment of the podcast starting right now. We're going to do a featured breed, and we thought it was appropriate that we featured the Alaskan Malamute.
Yes, which is really funny because there are very few breeds of dogs where I say, I don't want that dog. And Huskies and Malamutes and that kind of working breed of that heavy-coated dog, their behavior, and we'll talk about this, and what they need from an owner is not me. And so I've always, I am not the one, And so I've always just said, like, we don't do Huskies because it's just too hard for me to, like, wrap my head around what that dog needs to thrive. But there are people who love them, and they serve a purpose, and they are they're considered the
psychotic. I mean,
well, yes, but their psychoticness can be put to good use. So they are a working breed dog, which means that they were bred, and their breed was maintained for a job and a specific purpose and a specific climate that they were bred to live in and do best in. So we did some research. Neither one of us have owned a husky.
Nor will we ever.
Never, ever will I have a husky.
No.
I always say never because life changes, but this will be for sure.
Pass.
It's not happening. So from the Burhow Breed Library, I brought I brought a small stack of books so we're just going to read off some things.
They're interesting.
They are interesting. Well, obviously I have like 600 dog breed books because one of my favorite things is being able to like sit at the dog park or see somebody walking down the street and know what that dog is.
You're kind of a Rain Man like that.
It's a little crazy.
It's a little weird.
I know, but I love it so much. So a Malamute really does, and they thought that Roman was a husky because, one, he had been shaved, so his coat was tighter. A Malamute typically has a much fluffier coat. It's got a little bit longer hair. And they have a stubbier nose. So their face is a little more full and blocky.
Than a husky that's more pointed.
Yes. They are, obviously they are from the origin of Alaska, that kind of northern climate. And they were bred for sled pulling. Mm-hmm. So they have a lot of energy. They're very strong, and they have a high endurance.
I also read that they were used to protect their people, what they consider their pack, from bears as well. And they were used to hunt seals.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
So
that's cool.
But obviously all of this is happening in a very cold climate. They would do best, north of
wherever.
North of here.
Yeah. I mean, summertime for a husky is a lot of indoors laying on the air conditioner vent, I think. And that being said, they still need a lot of exercise.
Yeah, I read their exercise needs are high, over 2 hours of of intense exercise per day.
A
So,
day?
Yeah, that's what it said.
That is not happening at my house.
No.
Reason number 1 of 100, I will not own this breed of dog. It's just not for
They
me.
said a female is between 70 and 85 pounds, and a male is 80 to 95 pounds. So,
Yeah.
like Dallas, like a German Shepherd.
Pretty big,
And
big dog.
they have
I've
that
seen 'em
double
smaller.
coat,
Yep,
and
but-
they shed constantly.
So they go through what they call blowing their coat, which, a German Shepherd does too.
Yeah,
But this is that
another level.
times 100 because they've got that really thick coat where they can be out in the snow and the wet and their skin stays dry.
Yeah, it said their coat is waterproof, water resistant.
Yeah. It takes a lot to get down to the core of a husky's coat to
Right.
get them clean and washed and all the things because it does repel the water. So both Malamutes and Huskies have that same coat texture, but Malamutes even fluffier.
So from a grooming needs perspective, and just back up, we're doing this featured breed situation because a lot of times people will get a dog based on
How it looks.
It looks.
I like
yeah.
its blue eyes.
Oh,
you
it's
know.
very pretty, or
Yeah.
It's so gorgeous, it's striking, whatever. I want that dog, and they don't understand the breed itself,
And
and
what it
then you end
needs.
up with something that you have a senior that's adopted a husky, and it's
Oh my
like this isn't working.
Well, yeah.
Like,
It's not gonna work,
and then we end up with that husky, and then we have to find an appropriate owner, and we're going to vet that
thoroughly.
and so anyway, the whole featured breed thing is to
Thank you. Yeah, it's good to know
educate
why we're diving in.
on who needs this breed. So grooming, it has the double coat. It's going to need a blowout twice a year. So in the spring and the fall,
Yeah.
you're going to need that's $120 minimum.
At least.
Minimum.
Yeah. Plus,
and then
you need
brushed
to
every
every
day.
single day. You
at
have to
home.
brush that dog.
Right.
Yeah. And you can't do what you can do for some things. Like, right, I have an adorable pink Shih Tzu, and so her maintenance is a hair dye job. But I could keep her in a drop coat that goes all the way to the floor if I wanted to. That's the show standard. But I could also keep her coat longer than most people do their Shih Tzus, but I could also just keep her shaved because that's the maintenance level that I'm willing to put in for that dog.
She kind of reminds me of Tina Turner.
Her
Because her
hair.
hair's short enough that it sticks out, but
She's a wild one. Oh, I gave her a bath before our big party yesterday, and
trying to get the pink out.
no, just because she needed a bath and she's in between grooming. She goes. I think Bree's gonna get us in on Wednesday, so I'm pretty jazzed. But she is a fluffy, puffy mess. But anyway, I mentioned her because you can have a long-haired dog that's okay to shave.
This ain't one of them.
You cannot shave a Husky or a Malamute.
No.
One, it can ruin that coat, and that coat is very important for them to be able to regulate their temperature. So even though they're meant for a cold climate, if you shave a Husky and put it out in the sun, it is so much more difficult for it to regulate and maintain an appropriate body temperature than if it were fully coated.
Right.
That coat protects them from the sun. It insulates their body to keep it cool and warm as it needs.
Like a goose, like down feathers. Like
The goose
insulated
dogs.
both ways.
Yes, it is. Exactly. So you have to know that you're going to have hair tumbleweeds and you're going to have a grooming area in your house where you're going to be able to brush that dog out, that you're okay with making a whole nother dog every time you brush it.
Yeah.
Like,
Or have the funds to get into the groomer regularly.
yeah,
More
I mean,
regularly than just for a blowout.
shoot, if I had a Husky and that was the lifestyle I wanted of 2 hours of exercise a day and all the things, we'll talk about a few other behavioral things to think about too. But I would just have that thing booked just like I have Guinea Boopert booked on a
Yeah.
6-week go into the
least.
get a bath, a blowout, even in between the shedding seasons, because you can't keep up with it. It's so
Yeah.
much hair.
So they, like you said, they do thrive in cold weather. So if you happen to see a Husky or a Malamute outside in sub-zero temperatures,
They're fine.
they're fine.
Like they'll nap out
They'll
there.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
They enjoy it.
Like they don't want to
They're
come back in.
comfortable.
I have people that tell me that have this breed or this type of breed that they struggle to get them to come back inside during like the polar vortex stuff. But even though their coat is made for the cold weather, When these dogs are actually used for what they're bred for, and they do these really long dog sledding races and things, they wear boots to protect their paws because they still have, I mean, their paw pads are much more durable than like a Chihuahua's for being out in the cold, of course. But for that long work, they do usually boot up and have them run in those. So outside of that exercise need, one thing that Huskies are famous for, especially when owned in urban areas, is jumping the fence and running the way. They love to go for a run, and because they get pent up and they don't know what to do, and they're losing their minds. They get turned out in the backyard. Look on your lost dog site. I promise you, there is a high percentage of Huskies, Malamutes, or the like missing.
Yeah.
They are on the run constantly on those sites. It's crazy. And I was talking to a husky owner the other day, and he was like, yeah, luckily he didn't get the runaway gene. And I was like, that is lucky, because most of them really do love to run. And if they don't have any sort of structure or training, they just want to go.
It's just like a border collie, you know.
Yeah.
If they don't have a flock to herd, they're gonna herd cars.
Yeah.
Or they're gonna herd children.
And
nip them.
and mouth. Yeah.
So you could expect them to live 10 to 14 years, which is, you know,
it's a big commitment. Long time.
And they are prone to hip dysplasia, much like German Shepherds, cataracts, hypothyroidism, which would mean they're prone to weight gain. So you know, the older Huskies that you see, we call it the tabletop back.
Yeah. So they get that kind of wide, flat look to them for sure. And the type of people that are good owners of these, like obviously active.
They
right?
said what I read was you have to be the leader of the pack, so you have to be able to train and be.
You can't
firm.
be a pushover,
right? So you need to have some gumption. Obviously, you need to be active. Have a strong pack mentality. This would not be a good dog for anybody with any sort of health issues. That's going to prevent them from taking the dog out or being able to, like allergies or
any sort of frail nature of anybody.
Right. If you're uneasy on your feet, if you have mobility issues, this is not the dog for you. Also, I don't know what do you think, like a husky in Florida? It's probably not a great idea.
I don't think there's probably
it could be done, but
you could do it.
It's not ideal.
And, any dog is going to acclimate to its surroundings somewhat, but it's difficult if that dog has to be outside all the time in the heat. At least in Iowa, they get several months of that cold temperature that they like. But I see a lot of the videos and pictures of literally the dog with their like body on top of the air conditioner vent. Like, I'm not going to make it, So just trying to get cooled down. But in northern climates, you see these living as a family dog more often. But in the beginning, they were bred solely to work. So as I was reading more and more about which I'll talk a little bit more about it here as we move down, but the Iditarod, which is this huge dog sled race that happens in Alaska, it's about 1,000 miles that they go. So people breed these dogs, and there's a few others that kind of fit into this group, but they work. And so there's a whole article on the Iditarod page about, like, is it possible to keep a sled dog as an indoor pet? And, like, the article basically says, maybe. But a lot of them spend their lives out in, like, an indoor-outdoor run type of thing. They want to be outdoors. They want to be with their pack of dogs when they're not working. They are, like, stock because that's just how they were bred to live. And so now we've got these dogs living in Des Moines, Iowa, and if you're not giving them a job, then they're losing their minds.
They're really not thriving.
No, they're not. Yeah. So it's can be difficult. Not undoable, though. There are husky people. So I saw in the exercise, like, things around here that they might like. Our Johnny, who loves to bike, that is a wonderful exercise for a husky because they love that idea of like pulling and going with the
Yeah,
owner and like
yeah.
having that hiking, skateboarding, biking, all of that, those types of activities when they're not doing something like the Iditarod
Mm-hmm.
might be a good activity for your Malamute or husky.
Yeah, I don't want all the husky people to come at us or come after us. Like,
I
it's
think they'll
totally
agree, though.
doable.
Yeah.
You just have to have the right mentality, the right knowledge,
Yep.
and the ability to and follow through with
Well,
high energy and
Yeah.
and keeping them active.
well, somebody was telling me the other day that listens to the podcast, they were saying, you can tell that by listening to us that you and I have taken this on as a lifestyle. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that we want to spend a majority of our free time and our lives making our dogs' lives better and making other dogs' lives better, learning more about like how we can be the best dog owners possible. And that's not just like we like dogs. It's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
When you have a dog like a husky,
that's
you're
a
choosing
lifestyle.
a lifestyle. You're
Right.
not just having a purse chihuahua named the tick flea gnat whatever which that dog's gonna have a life of luxury, but anybody can do that.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
everybody can do the husky thing, but some
No.
people can do it really, really well.
yeah.
Like Corey and his husband or fiance that are gonna take on a fourth.
They're nuts.
They're crazy people, but
We
they are
love them.
we love them, but they're so good at it. They understand what these dogs need mentally to be able to thrive, which is very cool.
And I don't know, a husky, a solo husky. Obviously, they'd be better if they had
They need a pack.
another husky.
I think they need a pack.
Yeah.
Well, I think every dog needs a pack, but but there are some dogs like a Shiba Inu. That's a really good solo dog because
That's another one I can't do.
no, I wouldn't have one of those either. But they're another dog. That's a dog that's more cat-like, and they're happy on their own.
Yeah.
Whereas like a husky, they're bred to be part of like a wolf pack or a working dog pack. So, let's see. I'm going to put in the show notes just a little more information about the Iditarod. I know that there's a lot of schools that they'll have their classroom follow along and, map the dogs where they are on the map, and it's pretty cool to watch.
Yeah, there's a lot of, it can get kind of a hot debate about the Iditarod.
Like, is it okay?
There's a lot of groups out there that don't agree with it.
Yeah.
Think that it's...
Well, I feel the same way about horse racing, right? Like, we're doing this for the pure pleasure of humans, right? But these
they're bred to
these
do.
animals are bred to do that.
They're inherently...
Yeah. So how do we feel
Yeah.
about it? I don't know. I don't have when I first started researching the Iditarod, I think my aunt was an English teacher, and she started getting interested in it because they had this lesson plan that she could follow and the kids would follow along, and she was telling me about it. And at that time, I was fairly young, but I was like, I'm not sure how I feel about that. Like, is this okay? But the more and more I researched it, I think that it's just kind of like the crux of this, like it's the height of the sport, right? Like we're doing this really big thing, and it's for the joy of breeding this dog to do what it was meant to do. And so for that, I like it. But I think there are some, like all things,
It's just like anything else.
some
right.
owners and some handlers that are not as good to their dogs as others, and it that's hard to control, but it's pretty cool. So the Alaskan Malamute, Siberian and Alaskan Huskies, the Samoyed, the Chinook, the Eskimo dog. I don't even know how to say this one. Laika. But it looks a lot like a husky, but maybe a little more athletic. Those are
darker coat.
Yeah, it looks a little more of a black and white rather than the kind of gray and white. Those are all really common sled dog breeds that are very similar to what we're talking about here. None of those would be dogs I would own. Samoyeds are really pretty, but no thank you.
So that's all there is to know about the Alaska Malamute.
Yeah, they're beautiful
huskies.
dogs. I remember growing up, I lived, in the summertime, we lived on a little lake, and one of our neighbors had a huge Alaskan Malamute, and he had the longest hair ever. And I remember in the summer, he would sit outside. They'd let him out to go potty, and he would pee and sit at the door and just be like, I'm going to die. And I thought, what a weird dog to own here. Like, this is horrible. But they loved that dog. It was huge and very fluffy.
Well, if there is a specific breed that you'd like us to cover, you can text our Google line.
Yes, if you go on our website, there is our phone number listed. We can receive text messages there. Send in your dogs of interest. I mean, you might have a breed of dog that you really love, and you might have kind of a something to tell us about that and why you've chosen that as like your specific breed. Like Holly's not going to pick a pug, but I will never say no to one. You know what I mean? Like.
You can also leave us a voicemail. You can leave your heart dog story there too.
Yes.
When you call the number, it's going to ask you for your name, and that comes through on a recorded line to us, so we can filter phone calls before we answer them.
So if you just say, I'm calling for my heart dog story.
Right. Then we will essentially
Let
ignore
it go to
the call
voicemail.
and let it go to voicemail, and you can leave your heart dog story.
Yeah, so I will. That number is 515-259-0049, or if you don't want to have to go back to this podcast to find it, it is on our website at ohmydogrescue.org. So that is that, and that is our first featured breed. So
I usually answer the bat phone.
I know she
I
does.
I did not today. So, all right, well, let's wrap this up then with our featured foster.
Yes, and so our featured foster is her name is Barbie. Is it
Baker or Barker?
I believe
Barbie Barker?
I think I was gonna say she's the
it's
perfect
Barbie Baker.
Hold on, I gotta make sure I'm not wrong here.
Yeah,
It's
if you are, that would be on par.
It is. Her name is Barbie Barker. The very best name for a foster ever. Like, where are we gonna send this dog? Call Barbie Barker, and we do. And she says, sure.
Hilarious.
So,
you know how when you hear somebody's name and you kind of get a vision of who this person should look like?
Yeah.
That didn't match up for me. Because when I saw the name, because I've only met her the one time.
Yes.
You know her
better than
I do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this going to be? You know what I mean? And then I show, and that's the other thing about meeting new people in this world is there's always that, like, you know how when dogs meet each other and they, like, sniff?
They're
and
trying
like,
to figure
sniff
each
the
other
butt
out. Yeah.
And, like, swapping around you and, like, trying to figure it out. Like, that's how I feel in these group chats with newbies.
Yeah.
Because, like, they'll leave a joke wide open and you're like,
are they gonna take it?
Do you take it?
No. Is she gonna like that?
Or are they gonna get it?
I always take it. They don't always get it. Yeah.
So the first time I met Barbie was in a parking lot in Waukee. I don't remember what I was giving her. A dog and some dog food. Anyway, within like the first 30 seconds, there was an F-bomb dropped and there was, whatever. I was like, okay,
One of us.
we cool.
But Barbie, her main job is she works at like a motel in the like front desk area.
Yeah.
And it's like one of those motels that have like where you like drive up to your room.
Right.
The whole long and so
sure.
One time I took a dog to her. And one of the regulars that stays at this motel, I don't know if he lives there or if he's just there a lot because he's a truck driver and goes through or whatever. He's like, oh, Barbie, you're getting another dog, huh? And I'm like, what kind of sitcom did I just drop myself into here? It was so cute. And I'm like, oh my gosh. So she has taken several dogs for us. Did we pull that?
I did.
Okay.
I think it was like 9.
Yeah, so she's taken quite a few dogs for us. And Penny, unfortunately, who was returned today, was her very first foster. And the reason that she got connected with us, because she does a lot of boarding. And like I said, the people had a baby, the same old story. And the dog was getting spicy with the baby. So they left it with Barbie at her home, because not only does she run a people motel, she runs a dog motel at her house. And so that's how we got started. So we're circling around and here comes Penny again and whatever, but she is not afraid.
Eight with one of these coming from Grundy.
Okay,
Well,
cool.
I want to send her a couple, but
Yeah, she might be getting 2. We'll see. Because she can handle
Surprise!
it. She's a dog person. She's been in and doing dog rescue.
She did say she would take more than one.
She did. She is has been doing rescue. She worked with another rescue for many, many years, kind of got out of doing it, and then because of Penny, she got back in, and now she's fully in the mafia, and she's not afraid to say no. She's also not afraid to say yes to the spicy ones. So I say, hey, I got this little spicy tot. What do you think? And she's like, I got it. No big deal. She came over, sat down on my floor when we brought in that little wiry-haired wiener dog that came up from Kansas City. And I'm like, I don't think he likes anything. And she sat down and did all of the right things. And, in that moment, I was like, okay, she knows what she's doing and I can trust her with these ones that maybe need a little extra work. And she's put in the years and the time to have that dog person lifestyle, if you will, or rescue person lifestyle. So we're really thankful for her and her expertise and what she brings to Oh My Dog.
Yeah.
So
I do appreciate being able to, like, hey, what's Barbie got?
like, what's going on? What can we do? Who can help us? She'll help us. So, yeah, she's pretty awesome. So, very thankful for Barbie and all of our fosters, and really excited to have all of these new fosters joining us as we bring in probably around 25 dogs in the next 5 days.
Yep.
So,
yep. It's always nice to get some newbies in.
yeah.
And we have started a new volunteer position with Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
So a few weeks ago, Courtney started handling the adoption applications,
Which
just forwarding them on, which has been such a blessing.
I can't tell you how many hours of my day mostly for me, I'm doing so many things and I stop to do that and I'm doing it half-assed. I'm trying to do it as quickly as I can, but it's not very good. And she's also in front of a computer a lot of the day, so it's easier for her to do that, and it's amazing.
And Carrie graciously offered to kind of be, we haven't come up with the title for it yet, but I'm
No.
thinking like hand holder.
Foster liaison.
That's what I was going to say, but I was like, we could do better than that.
I know. A foster a friend. Like a big brothers, big sisters.
Yeah.
She is whatever that is. A big. No one wants to be called that. But
we'll get it.
we'll think of something cutesy.
But she's going to help with the newbies and, like,
So they get their...
this is what you do. Because
Yeah.
nobody reads the manual.
Nobody can read. We figured it out. It's
Read
fine.
your manual.
Or listen.
Read your manual, fosters.
Or listen to that podcast about becoming a foster or anything. We're trying everything we can. Now we have an actual person who's going to help this. And she has her first charge, if you will, because she came today and picked up one of the 2 breeder release dogs. And the person who took the other one is a brand new foster.
Perfect.
Who's going to do great. We put them together in a group chat and I said, Carrie will help you from here. And so she...
So do we have to be in the group chat too?
I feel like we might be able to leave. That is just a chat, not even a group chat. Oh boy, things are getting real.
Oh, shit.
We maybe just be able to put that one at the bottom of the list for clicking on because Carrie will let us know if she needs us.
Right. We can mute those. I mean, I think we should still be in them, but we can mute them.
Oh,
That would be fun.
that'll never happen.
You're right. All right. Well, anyway, it's been real and it's been fun.
And we hope you had a lot of fun learning about Alaskan Malamutes. And our upcoming toy episode, we are going to dive a little deeper into the difference between dog breeders and puppy mills. What do those things mean? What does it mean to take in those dogs? So listen again the following Friday and learn more about that. But until then,
We'll figure it out.
bye. We'll figure it out.
Oh my dog.
What I mean when I see, what I see, what I feel, when I dream, when I be, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Everybody look at me when I'm free, when I feel, what I see, when I do it, I'm a freak, what up? Oh, what up? Say what we got, it's hot to spot, give up the drop, see what we got, do what, we got to go, the body flow, too hot to show, the front row, we won't stop.